I'm Emma, a former working professional who became a housewife after marrying my husband. Currently, I live with my parents-in-law, and my story begins with Lucy, my mother-in-law, expressing her concerns. Before my marriage to her son, I had a good friendship with Ruby, my grandmother-in-law. However, for some inexplicable reason, Lucy didn't quite warm up to me. As soon as we started living together, she began to nitpick at various aspects of my life. Her complaints about my actions were among the milder forms of her behavior. One day, Lucy caught sight of me using my smartphone to communicate with a male friend. She jumped to conclusions and questioned whether I was having an affair. I tried to reason with her, reminding her not to invade someone's privacy by snooping through their phone. I explained that the guy in question was a mutual friend of my husband, Dylan, and me, and we were merely discussing plans for a trip together. Despite my explanations, Lucy maintained her habit of prying into people's phones without their consent and continued to suspect me of infidelity. At times, she even neglected to prepare my meals. When this happened, I would wait until everyone was asleep and quietly sneak out to grab a bite to eat. I refrained from discussing these issues with my husband or father-in-law, as I didn't want to burden them or create discomfort within the household. Thankfully, Ruby, my grandmother-in-law, was a source of support during these trying times. She showed genuine concern for my well-being and offered a listening ear whenever I needed it. She would send me encouraging messages like, "Emma, are you okay? You can talk to me about anything. You've always looked out for me, so now I'm here to listen." In one of her texts, she even remarked about Gaby, a lively individual who, despite being in her 80s, exuded boundless energy. Ruby was exceptionally tech-savvy and had a deep understanding of computers and the internet, staying well-informed about the latest trends. After the passing of my grandfather-in-law, she initially resisted the idea of moving in with her son's family, insisting, "I've finally got the chance to live independently. I can manage on my own." That's what she used to say. In her youth, she was quite the adventurous spirit, willing to go anywhere as long as she had a motorcycle at her disposal. She harbored a strong aversion to injustice and wouldn't hesitate to speak up, regardless of whether it was against a man or a person of influence. Those around her knew her as an incredibly formidable woman. Remarkably, she never bullied her daughter-in-law, and Lucy, aware of Ruby's strong personality, treated her with utmost care. Ruby grew particularly fond of me, and when I was introduced to Dylan's family, she quickly became a close friend. Strangely, this development didn't sit well with Lucy either. On one occasion, we decided to host a grand celebration for my father-in-law's 60th birthday, inviting all the relatives. I was eager to reunite with my own family for the first time since our wedding. Lucy made a plea, saying, "Please don't embarrass me. I understand. I'll remain silent." I responded with a hint of sarcasm, believing that Lucy wouldn't dare to cause any trouble in front of my relatives. However, my assumption proved to be wrong. I had no inkling of what Lucy had in store for me that night. To my surprise, I received a message from Ruby sharing a delightful memory. "Henry loves Kate. He adored a cake I made for him before he started primary school." Henry, in this context, was my father-in-law, a true cake enthusiast who couldn't resist a sweet treat. Whenever we were out as a family and spotted a cake shop, he would veer the car in that direction without waiting for anyone's approval. Encouraged by Ruby's suggestion, I decided to prepare a cake as a surprise for Henry's birthday party. I carried out the task in secret, well aware of the potential reaction from Lucy as she caught me baking. Ruby and I were eagerly anticipating the party, and my excitement was unmistakable. However, Lucy had her own agenda, reminding me to tidy up the room, a chore Nigel, her late husband, had always urged her to complete. Ironically, I had already finished cleaning, but upon inspecting the room, I discovered that Lucy had been messing it up again. Despite the chaos, I couldn't contain my enthusiasm for the impending celebration. As the day of the party arrived, relatives gradually gathered, and Henry, usually dressed conservatively, appeared in more fashionable attire. He humbly expressed his gratitude to the assembled family members, saying, "Thank you for making the effort to come all this way for me." Dylan watched the heartwarming scene with a smile. He exclaimed, "I haven't seen him this happy in ages." Henry was radiating joy. As for Lucy, she had a peculiar habit of fixating her gaze on me when nobody else was looking. I couldn't fathom why she was so preoccupied with me. I suspected she might be snooping on the contents of my phone again, casting doubts. I earnestly hoped she wouldn't misconstrue anything. That's what was on my mind as the dinner continued. Finally, the moment arrived to present the homemade cake. "Here's the cake for your 60th birthday, Henry," I announced with a smile. The entire room burst into applause. Henry expressed his gratitude, saying, "Did you go through all this trouble to make this cake, Emma? Thank you for this beautiful cake." But before I could respond, Lucy abruptly intervened. "Oh my God, don't serve that dog food. It's so embarrassing," she exclaimed, snatching the cake from my hands and tossing it aside. A stunned silence enveloped the room. Everyone was taken aback by her shocking behavior. No one could have anticipated that she would discard the cake in such a manner. Ruby's expression grew sorrowful. "This cake is a disaster. I tried a piece and it tastes strange. Henry will suffer if he eats something like that," Lucy continued, provoking my anger to its peak. I couldn't contain myself any longer. "Lucy, what on earth are you doing? This is the homemade cake Ruby made for your husband," I protested. Lucy's face turned pale as realization washed over her. "Wait, you mean the cake I made is the tiramisu over there? I was supposed to make it, but I couldn't get it right, so Ruby made it for me at the last minute," I explained. Lucy was taken aback. "You're lying," she exclaimed. "What do you mean?" "The cake you just tossed aside is from a friend of mine. She made it with someone named Charming Area or something," I clarified. "That Charming Area is me," I declared proudly. Lucy turned as pale as a ghost, and the room fell into a stunned silence. It wasn't just Lucy, even Henry, Dylan, and the other relatives were left utterly bewildered. As it turned out, Gaby, the same friend who was proficient in anime and adored cute characters, had set her name as Charming Area on her messaging app. She even used a cute cat character as her profile picture. Her messages were filled with modern language and expressions. Gaby, my friend, had a penchant for using numerous emoticons in her messages, which likely led Lucy to mistakenly assume she was my girlfriend. Recognizing this opportunity, I decided not to let it slip by. "I mean, you did go through my phone again, didn't you?" I questioned, refusing to entertain Lucy's attempts at excuses. "Emma, the one who's come to marry into our family." Ruby spoke up quietly, catching Lucy off guard. For the first time in my life, I witnessed genuine fear in someone's eyes. "No, no, no. What do you mean, no?" I persisted, disregarding Lucy's attempts to deflect the conversation. Ruby's unwavering determination to address the issue left Dylan and Henry utterly shocked. Lucy must have assumed, based on Ruby's feminine icon and messaging app name, that I intended to bake a cake with my girlfriends, which led her to throw it away. I confronted her, but Ruby went to great lengths to make a special cake for Henry. "What were you thinking?" Lucy's remorse finally started to surface, and she tearfully apologized to Ruby. Didn't I tell you?" Ruby interjected sternly. "I don't want anyone in my family who engages in such senseless bullying. I have no use for it. Apologize to Emma before you apologize to me. If I hadn't made that cake, you wouldn't have cared if it got tossed away, would you?" Ruby's words hit home, and Lucy clenched her teeth in frustration. Lucy then turned to Henry, who echoed his mother's sentiment. "Mom is right. You should apologize." Henry's anger was palpable. Dylan, unaware of the situation until now, lowered his head and expressed regret for not having noticed the bullying. "We'll address the rest as a family. I apologize for causing a scene while you were all here. Thank you for coming today," Henry concluded. With those words, the party came to an end and the relatives departed. On their way home, they expressed their disbelief at the presence of such bullying behavior in this day and age, and expressed sympathy for the daughter-in-law who had endured it and then left the house. Lucy faced scolding from all the relatives, and it became apparent that she had underestimated the gravity of her actions. After everyone had left, we had a candid family discussion. I began by apologizing. "Henry, I'm sorry for turning your celebration into such a spectacle. I'm sorry things unfolded this way." Henry, ever the gentleman, reassured me, saying, "Emma, you have nothing to apologize for. This is my wife's fault. Mom, I'm sorry about the cake you made. This is a matter between the two of you, and because I was the one who selfishly claimed I couldn't manage on my own, I tried my best not to intrude. However, after today's incident, Gaby seemed to have more to express as she had been holding back earlier. Her anger was still palpable, and Lucy had no response, her gaze fixed downward. "I'm sorry I didn't notice and couldn't offer assistance when you needed it," I admitted. I could see how remorseful Dylan was, and I forgave him. "You are going through a challenging period." I confronted Lucy's snide remarks head-on. "It didn't cause significant harm, so let's put it behind us. Thank you. I've received tremendous support from your grandmother, so I'm doing fine. But from this point forward, if you ever encounter any difficulties, please don't hesitate to share them with me, all right?" I asked with a smile. He nodded in agreement. I glanced at Ruby, who winked and grinned in response. As we conversed, I overheard Henry chastising Lucy. Afterward, Henry offered an apology. Lucy hesitated, but Henry insisted that she apologize to me, saying, "Emma, I'm sorry for troubling you. I won't let you shoulder the household chores alone from now on. I'll contribute as well. Please forgive me." "Now that you've said that, I can't forgive you right away," I replied. "But I have apologized," Lucy protested. "From now on, I'll take your apology into consideration as we work together on various tasks, including household chores." "I understand." And so the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law feud in my family concluded with my decisive victory. Following that, Lucy underwent a remarkable transformation. She used to be somewhat indolent, but she began to efficiently tackle household chores and even assisted me in caring for Ruby. And of course, my meals were consistently prepared. I heard that Lucy took the initiative to apologize to the relatives who had attended the party. "Ruby, Lucy has changed, hasn't she?" I remarked. "She's been helping me in various ways." One day, I approached Lucy and expressed my gratitude, saying, "Lucy, you've been assisting me with housework and other tasks. Thank you." Lucy responded, "What are you talking about? Of course, I'm truly sorry for what I put you through." Lucy extended another apology, but I shook my head gently. No. From now on, we'll be tackling things together," I assured her. "I'm looking forward to working together." She nodded, her eyes filled with tears, and we shared a genuine laugh. Later, Lucy sought out Ruby once more to apologize for discarding the cake. She even asked Ruby if she would consider making the cake again, this time with her assistance. "Nathan, could you please make another cake for Henry? I know I spoiled the party, but I want to make it right and celebrate properly," Lucy implored. Ruby, pleased to see the change in Lucy, responded warmly, "I see you've had a change of heart. Let's do it together with Emma this time." I happily joined in, and the three of us collaborated to create a delightful cake that brought immense joy to Henry. It was a heartwarming occasion, marking the first time we had truly celebrated together in a long while. We were able to come together as a family, enjoy drinks, and engage in meaningful conversations. While we had faced numerous challenges since moving in together, Ruby's unwavering support and Lucy's change of heart had brought us closer, allowing us to find happiness in our shared lives. Looking ahead, I decided that I wouldn't keep any problems to myself. I would openly communicate with my husband, Dylan. This experience had deepened our bond, and even as we considered the prospect of welcoming new family members, we felt confident that we could do so with peace of mind.